Here we come. We're going live. Boy, have we got a lot of iPhones here this morning. Should be live now. What's up, Apple Sheep and Talos of Tech fans everywhere? It's your Apple Sheep. It's the Apple Shepherd. And I thought we would do something a little bit differently for today's Tuesday live stream at 10 a.m. How's everyone doing? Should be live. Let's make sure it's live. Yeah, it looks like it's live, on my end at least. How long it will takes. I hope it's starting. It says I'm live, so I'm gonna expect the chat to catch up. Yeah, here they come. Okay, they're here. Everyone's coming in. So yeah, I thought I would do something a little bit different, thanks to a very very gracious fan. So no, I did not buy these myself, but a fan did have two, not one, but two of the original iPhones, and they're not giving them to me, but they're letting me borrow them to take pictures with and to make a couple videos about. I'm not entirely sure exactly what I'll do. Definitely this live stream was the first idea. It's like, hey, we got these. They're kind of interesting. If you guys have questions about them, then we can ask them here. Here it is. We got two of them here. The OG iPhone, back released in 2007. And there's a very limited number of these in the world. That's why they are increasingly getting more expensive. However, used ones aren't as expensive as I've discovered, and these are definitely used. They have signs of wear on the back, but it's just been interesting to me for the past. I haven't had them that long. I got them out of the PO box yesterday. And it's just interesting to have a piece of history from Apple, which I obviously care about and appreciate so much. And I've never seen one of these in my life. Okay, back when this came out, I was 9 years old, so it wasn't something I was allowed near, and it was definitely expensive. This is, and I probably wasn't too into tech back when I was 9, but it's just kind of an interesting era in the technology, especially knowing how much smartphones have changed in this long. And of course, I tried to collect all the other iPhones I have in the lineup. Now, I've reviewed the 7 and the 8, but I've also sold those phones because they're actually pretty valuable. So I wouldn't really deem them as collectibles yet. But I've sold my old 7 Plus and I've sold my 8 Plus. So I don't have that today. But pretty much the significant changes for every other model I have. I don't really have the S models just because they look the same. So you can get the basic idea of how it looks. What iOS is it on? I guess we could check for that in the settings. See, I charged both of these last night with the 30-pin connector, which luckily the fan sent as well. But as I said, yeah, he's not gifting these to me. He's just letting me borrow them for a while. But there's their beautiful displays. It's hilarious. The headphone jack port on the top is like monstrously large compared to other headphone jacks. Um, Apparently, they're running iOS 3.1.3, which is likely the most latest iOS they could get. But here's a 5C. Okay, I never actually used this. I just know someone who didn't want it anymore. That's an average size headphone jack on these iPhones. Look at it on the OG iPhone. It's like this giant gaping hole, and then within that hole is another headphone jack. Well, I mean it's one headphone jack, but still, it's just kind of funny how obtusely large that is. The buttons are a lot thinner back then. They're much more clickier now. This is by far the most interesting comparison is to turn one of these on and compare it to the iPhone 10. Of course, let's get it unlocked. Yeah, like so much has changed in about 10 years. It's almost like it's a different company. It's like back in these days, Steve Jobs was just like, yeah, 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 this is the right form factor. You can reach everything in this size. And then we jump cut to this, and it's like, how big of a display can we possibly get in this large a form factor? Like, people's tastes definitely changed too. I mean, you got the home button, we got a front-facing camera, got Face ID versus nothing. Oh man, and the SIM tray on the top is enormous too. Back when they used, I forget what that form of SIM is, but very generous. The fan has asked to remain anonymous, so I'm not going to say who they were, but they were very generous to send this to him. They also included, with the two original iPhones that I've just been toying with, an iPhone 3G, which is kind of an interesting part of Apple's history. And I gotta say, I never really used this one either. This was also before my time. Back when I first started asking people to like back when I first got it first interested in technology and stuff, this was all the rage. It was right when the iPhone 4 was being leaked. It was I think a guy in a German bar or something who left it there, and then they found one of these in the bar, which was hilarious. And Gizmodo, I think, is the one who had it, and Steve Jobs seized it from him. But when this came out, I was like, "Oh my God, the leaks were true. This is so cool. Like this was all real." And that's kind of where the idea of leaked iPhones was introduced to me and finding them out early. And then I was watching the rest of the world get these things, which was cool. Um, so yeah, and it's interesting to finally have like the tech that happened before that. The this build is very interesting. The fact that they went with these very mirrored edges all around the sides, and they kind of have this like plasticky look on the bottom with a ton of speaker holes, which is fascinating. But yeah, it's definitely interesting to see how far things have come and what used to be the norm, what used to be cool. There's a super chat here. Let's make sure I read that. 50 characters for €2. Just silly comment below. Oh, okay. What did you say? Do you consider yourself a power user, and how would you define a power user? I'm not. I don't hear that term very often, so I'm gonna say I'm not. But if I were to guess, if you're asking me to define one, is someone who looks for absurd amounts of power in their computer. I don't know what it actually is, but that's how I would define it. Likely, like you need more than average RAM. You need more than average CPU. And nowadays, pretty much anyone who buys a MacBook Pro is starting to become a power user because people, I would say, who just use email, who just use web browsing and listen to music, that's not a power user. If you're someone who's just doing some type of third-party software or even first-party software that's just very graphically intensive, whether it be video editing or intensive photo editing or 3D modeling or stuff like that, then you're starting to fall into the more power user. I'm guessing. I'm guessing. Should I put them all in a line? Ironically, I have the 10 plus dummy here too. I thought it would be funny to be like, imagine all the videos next year when we have slide to unlock. Remember that? When we have original iPhone versus 10 plus, where it can eat it. I mean, it could literally swallow this. It's insanity. Yeah, I mean, you got to say it's ergonomic. I mean, it's very portable. It's you can very easily reach the top and bottom, but I mean, swiping up didn't do anything anyway, and swiping down really didn't do anything anyway. At least this is lagging so much that it doesn't anymore. But yeah, power user, aka beast mode. Okay, I think I got the gist of it then. I don't think the SE2 will have anything new apart from the new processor board. Yeah, that's the kind of thing. Like, it's very hard to guess what Apple's going to do with the SE lineup. It's like it could get a major refresh, it could get the most basic of refreshes. I'm gonna guess it's somewhere in the middle. They're gonna not give. I wouldn't say they'd give the iPhone SE the treatment the iPhone 10 got, but they might give the SE the treatment the 8 got, which means that the front of the SE will look exactly the same. Maybe a True Tone display, maybe. But the primary difference is that on the back, they'd switch to all glass and it'd be wireless charging. And it'd have the faster chip and whatnot. Why did you never respond to the message I sent you? I'm sorry. I don't know where you sent it to me. But I get messages sent to me constantly on Instagram and Facebook. Some of these things you can't turn off. And it's almost impossible to read all of them. They're just constantly pouring in at all hours, no matter what day it is. I'm constantly getting new messages. So I'm sorry if DMing me thinks you think DMing me can directly contact me, but sometimes it's overwhelming. What about the new Mac Pro? That's still not happening for a while. But someone was saying that we should line these up, which is probably a good idea. I just kind of threw them here. I wish I had something to like mount them on so you can see them. But we'll put let's see, I've got a 5 here. This is an old 5. We have a 4 here, old 4, and then 5C, which is kind of a new design, but I don't have a 5S because that was basically what the 5 looked like, and the SE. I heard a rumor that there will be a folding phone, not a normal flip phone, a phone that bends. Yeah, they're passing patents to that, but that doesn't necessarily mean it'll happen. A lot of the time companies are just investigating R&D and they just want to put patents on things. It doesn't necessarily mean that they're working on one. They pass patents on all kinds of things. Okay, here's the 3G. Sending love from the Philippines. Really appreciate your videos and waiting on getting my iPhone 10. I hope you get it soon, Trick F. Have you seen the YouTube stories yet? Is that out? I heard they were going to add that. And I was like, really? YouTube, you have all these problems and you're going to start acting like there's no problems and start acting like other social networks? What if we did what everyone else is already doing? How creative. Why do you think Steve Woz gets no love or recognition from Apple? I think he certainly does. I mean, he's allowed on the campus at any time, and I believe he gets a major discount on the products. If anything, he might not have to pay for them at all. I mean, he goes to the developer conferences. I remember that. It's kind of cool to see him there. Okay, 3G there. After 3G, we had 4. This definitely was a drastic design change. I gotta say, like, now that I've used pretty much every single iPhone that's existed, like at some point, I don't have them all here, but I've basically used all of them now that I've used a 3G and original iPhone. This might spark some controversy to some of you Apple loyalists, but the 3G is not my favorite design. I mean, it's very rounded. The original iPhone was rounded on the sides, but it was flat on the back. When you rested it down, no, even better than today. No camera bulge. It doesn't rock at all when you're pushing down on it. It's perfectly fine. Whereas this device is insane. The fact that they rounded the entire back of it, I suppose it looked cool, but it's just totally impractical. Like, if you're resting this on a desk, if you had the 3G and you rested it on a desk, it's like, oh, let me press my home button. The whole thing, so all over the place. What do you use to live stream? So there's a bunch of different things I've used over the years. For a while, I used OBS, and then that didn't work, so I started using the built-in YouTube app on iOS, pretty much anyone, I think, as long as your account is enabled, like extra features. You don't need certain subscribers to be enabled on YouTube. You just need to send a text to a phone number. As soon as your account is like verified in that regard, not like checkmark verified, but just like they know you're not a robot, you can go live within the YouTube app just from your phone. And we did that for a long time. And then what I figured out is that I could live stream from my DSLR camera, which I think looks pretty good. And it also means I can use my better microphone than my simple phone camera. If I use this Elgato game capture device, which is primarily used for recording and live streaming gameplay, but it also works for this. It means I can plug a certain, like, it's like a micro HDMI cord into my Lumix camera, goes into the Elgato, and then I have a Elgato streaming program running on here that streams directly to the tech channel, and so far it's worked pretty well. There's been the least amount of complaints with this one. There's always complaints, no matter what you do with live streaming setups. But with this format, there's been the least amount because it's DSLR quality, which means that no, it's not super, super crisp, but it looks better than just a smartphone camera being compressed. And it also means I can still use my very, very nice H6 Zoom microphone, so it sounds good. How does it feel in the iPhone 10 without a home button? It's great, honestly. I love the gestures, and I feel like most people who have ever tried this can admit that the gestures are very easy to get used to. They're very simple. A lot of people act like it's a very complicated thing. Oh my God, you have to learn everything over again. It takes a couple minutes, and then you're like, oh my God, this is better. I love it. Could you survive with the 8 gigabyte in 2017? No, I could not. I really don't understand what I would get from that. I want to make sure this glass is like it's like, what was the back of the 3G made of? You guys probably know. This almost feels plastic. I don't think it's glass. And I guess they went with that with the 3G, which I don't know, makes sense, but at the same time it's just like this the whole idea that the entire back of the iPhone would be rounded. It makes it feel much larger. I guess it's more comfortable in the hand, but compared to this, I mean, this is thinner, and this came out first. I mean, original iPhone versus 3G. This, I get that it's not thicker at all locations, but at least at the peak of the back of the phone, it feels thicker than the original iPhone, and that's weird. I mean, it looks cool because it's all, yeah, it is plastic. 3GS was made of plastic. Yeah, I don't like that design choice. I like this one where they went with aluminum, and I believe this is stainless steel around the edges. I'm not sure. I can't remember. I don't know a terrible amount about these, but I've been reading up on them, which is interesting. Yeah, it is plastic. Thank you. Um, but yeah, when you press on the home button, this whole thing just wobbles. You can't use it on a flat surface, which is, I think, what inspired them after the 3G to automatically switch to this design, which is the most boxiest design we've had, including the 5, where they had a flat sheet of glass on both sides, now on the front and the back, which meant that, of course, there was absolutely zero wobble when you rested it on a table, and it's very, very solid with the 4. Very, very solid. And then, of course, the 5, which just kind of flattened it out a little bit, made it thinner, made it wider. This is when we switched to the 16 by 9 aspect ratio, which was really cool. This was my first iPhone ever. This is the first iPhone I ever bought. Um, and I loved it. It was amazing. And I kept looking at it thinking, they don't have much room left for the headphone jack. They're gonna ditch it on the 6. And little did I know, lo and behold, it would stick around for another 2 years until the 7. But of course, I've wanted the headphone jack for the longest time. Oh yeah, we were making a little line up here. Here, we got the super chat. Okay. Uh, this is Dino P. Thank you. Says sorry for asking, but which should I buy? Note 8 or iPhone 10 or Huawei Mate 10 Pro? Thanks. I'm always gonna say iPhone 10 because of the iOS optimization and the hardware and software that supports it for years to come. You know, if you get a Note 8, it's going to be really nice. It's going to be really cool. No hate on the Note 8. I think that's a perfectly good phone. I think that's a very probably I think it's the best Android phone of the year probably. Um, and you could get the Mate 10 Pro, also a very good phone. It's got very premium specs and premium features and stuff. But a year later, the software is not going to be very different. Whereas you get an iPhone 10, Apple's rolling out software updates to these with pretty major changes fairly regularly, like pretty often. Which I'm just trying to say that when you buy an iPhone 10 next year, the iOS is going to drastically change and hopefully make the product better. Usually it does. And then a year after that, it's going to change again and be really cool. And they're going to update Face ID and provide more exclusive features to 10 users. And even a year after that, whereas Android, even when Android O is available to those two products, it's going to take, it takes years for them to get there. And the changes are not going to be very noticeable. A lot of the Android O changes are built into Samsung skin anyway. So I'm just saying the long termness with the iPhone 10 will be worth it in the long run. I have doubt. Please answer this. Okay, you have doubt. Since the iPhone 10 has fast charging, could I use the 89-watt Mac adapter to fast charge it? Will it be bad for iPhone 10's battery life or something? Please answer. I don't believe so. Again, I don't fast charge anything. I don't actually use the port on my iPhone 10 at all, so I'm no expert. But as I believe, as I've read online, when you plug a USB-C cable into an 87 watt, even the most powerful brick back here, uh, this this beast, giant USB-C brick. Even if you plug this into a smartphone, it smart adapts. It's USB-C is smart enough to know, don't provide an absurd amount of power to this device that would cause it deaf. I don't believe it could do that. So I think as long as you're using a USB-C to Lightning, of course, to charge the phone, it will fast charge it. Yes, and it won't hurt it. As I believe, I charged the Essential phone with the 87 watt brick, and I had no problems. It charged very fast, but yeah, it'll be. I'm pretty sure it'll be fine. But again, if everyone in the chat starts saying no, don't listen to Drew, then definitely listen to the chat because I'm just guessing. Technically, you do slightly fast charge if you have iOS 11.2. Yeah, what is fast charge though? I mean, it's like in 15 minutes. There's Power IC that limits power. Okay, yeah, listen to them. People in the chat probably know more than me about this topic. But yeah, with iOS 11.2, you can fast wirelessly charge if you have a fast wireless charger, that has that built in, which I do. And I don't really notice it. I put it on there when I go to sleep, and when I wake up, it's at 100%. That's how I know my charger. No, don't listen to Drew. Okay. I would recommend just not using the port. I'm saying do the portless challenge. Get yourself a couple wireless chargers. They're very cheap now. That's what I'm saying. Okay, here's 5. We got 4 here, and then we ran out of room. Okay, and then after the 5, we had the 6. There was a 5S and the 5. Oh no, no, 5C. That was the year after the 5. Then we had the 6, massive 6 plus. Size difference is substantial. Mm. I've been using Apple Pay Cash because it's available to developers for quite a while, and I'm on the beta program. That's what I meant, beta testers. For them, it's interesting. It works at certain locations, but not all. I obviously you can use it between friends, which is really nice. But on top of that, I tried to use it at McDonald's, and it worked there. And it worked at Starbucks, but it did not work at Subway, and it didn't work at Rayleigh's. Like there were certain places where it would just crash whatever reader you held it near, and other places it worked perfectly fine. So I haven't tested them since then. I'd probably go back and try them again now that Apple Pay Cash is rolling out to everyone. Um, Not really sure um, of who of which places work or how to accept it. But anyway, me again. Okay, we got 2 super chats. Got to keep up. Um, can I scroll up? YouTube, please. It's not okay. I don't want to scroll that. There we go. Me again, 50 characters from Jonky says, given the opportunity, would you do a debate of iOS plus Apple versus Android and OEMs against someone like Linus, Unbox Therapy, MKBHD? Who would you pick? I would love Unbox Therapy just because we've already done a collab with MKBHD, which was fun, and I'd love to do another one anytime that he wants. But at the same time, it would be also cool to expand who we've collabed with on this channel. Unbox Therapy also being the largest tech channel. And I think I disagree with him more often. When we collabed with MKBHD, we found out that we agreed on quite a bit, despite us liking different kind of phones and brands. We had a lot in common, surprisingly. So yeah, I would love to have a debate like that. But of course, he's very busy. He's probably not interested in collabing with channels as small as I am. So that's fine. And I don't want to pressure him to. Don't just spam comments on him. Thoughts on skeuomorphism on iPhone OS 3? Let's see. I can force touch on that word and figure out what it is because I'm a college dropout. An object or feature which imitates the design of a similar artifact mode from another material. Uh, so are you saying like the design looked back then? Lou thinks highly of himself. Yeah, it does. That's fine. Confidence is good. He's not a bad YouTuber. Everyone thought I hated him after that video, and I kept trying to explain. Yeah, definitely a different approach. I mean, just looking like they have an iPod app back then. It's just so different. And like, geez, like the touch response. Basically, nothing works on this, which is funny. Like, you can't connect to the App Store. Back when we had the original YouTube app, not like the Google-fied. Like when you wanted to sign into this thing, you just had a YouTube account. It was not a Google Gmail. It was not a Google Plus thing. Design that represents real world objects. Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Yeah, and it cannot connect to YouTube. This app has been decommissioned by YouTube. So that doesn't work. Camera works, surprisingly. Only the one. And it cannot take video. It can only take pictures, which was interesting. And it takes a very long time to open. You wait. There it is. And it's like a webcam camera. But some people had even mentioned that even back then it was not terribly bad. But I'm really not experiencing the full res image. But the wobble of this is real. Like when you're looking at something and you shake it like this, like my goodness. But for a phone back then, obviously, very, very top notch. Refresh rate, my God, way behind. You can see every pixel. There was no wallpaper behind your apps back then, which I thought was funny. You could set a wallpaper. Oh, Safari actually works, and you can go to apple.com on the original iPhone, but none of the, like, how do you say it? HTML5 loads, like none of the pictures. So it's just a bunch of like text that's just like iPhone. It's loading slowly here. Luckily, it still connects to our Wi-Fi here. Say hello to the future. It's just a bunch of blue text links, which is hilarious. And you can scroll through them and tap on things, and it will tell you about them. But yeah, it's funny that apple.com still loads on here. Uh, Have you burned the Google Home Mini yet? No, it was a gift. It was one of you very gracious super chat donors. For those of you who don't know, if you want me to review a product, you can super chat the price of said product and say use this money to buy this product, and I will do it. I'm keeping it around because it was a gift, but yeah, I appreciate the fan who super chatted and asked me to buy it, and then he got the review out of it, and I hope he found it at least informative. I mean, I didn't hold back. I gave you my honest to God opinions. That's legit what I believe. I'm not trying to play bias against Google, but I probably am. I'm biased towards Apple, but Google definitely could earn my respect if I thought they were doing good things. And right now, I don't think they are. See, if someone super chatted the amount of a Google Pixel and said review it, then I would, even if I wouldn't enjoy it. Um, have you used Spotify yet? Yeah, I got it. It's just it's a bit tedious. I got the Spotify Premium, but at the same time, it's like I gotta go back and find all the music I'm used to, and at the same time, Siri works so seamlessly with Apple Music, so it's hard to not use Apple Music. But yeah, I've got Spotify. It's fine. It's a music playing service. It's basically what's already there. Can we check stocks on this thing? It says error retrieving. Oh no, it still works. The stocks app still works on the original iPhone. That's impressive. App Store doesn't work. iTunes Store does not connect. Um, yeah, I don't know if Maps works. That'd be interesting. Did they have GPS in the original iPhone? Would you review the Pixel 2 if I super chatted $800? If that is the price of the Pixel 2, I'm not entirely sure, but yes. If you, which would be difficult, keep in mind you'd have to donate 500 followed by 300, then yes. But keep in mind, you can't do it a halvesy. You can't be like, here's $400, buy the Pixel 2. I'd be like, no, that's meeting me halfway. I don't want to pay $400 for the Pixel 2. If you want me to review it and you're willing to cover the price of it, definitely. But I doubt many people really care or would want to see that. Um, there's a debate in my class between iOS biasers and Android biasers, and I want to ask you, as the biggest Apple sheep, to tell me some points to support iOS. Well, tell them it's all about exclusives. Oh, and okay, they did have the GPS in the 2G. That's cool. Um, and they didn't have GPS in the first Apple Watch. Interesting. Tell them it's all about exclusives. It's all about things that Android don't have. It's all about the ecosystem. You'd know that if you watch my videos. Everyone knows that. It's always about things that Android does not have. Things like AirDrop and the iMessage and the FaceTime and the intuitive, like the fact that we can SMS text on anything from our watch to our iPad to our MacBook, even an iMac, and we can take phone calls off that thing. Continuity between them all. You have a copy and paste clipboard between them all. MacBooks unlocking with Apple Watches. It's all ecosystem and exclusives because, of course, when you're debating someone, you want to bring up things that they don't have, and that's something they don't have. Your weakest argument that you probably want to stay away from is money, because you'll just have to cave to that and agree that, yeah, Apple products are expensive. But we're not talking about what is the best deal. You're just wanting to refer to what is the best products. What is the best overall choice? Um, like for instance, a Tesla is not the cheapest car, but I still think it's the best car for all the smart features it has and the fact that it's electric and that's cool and it's moving into the future. Like I think the Teslas are the best vehicles, but I don't own one because I can't afford it. But just because I cannot afford it does not mean it is a bad product. So try to bring up cars and stuff when they talk about finances. I have a question, of course. I see that Apple doesn't include fast charging no matter what they provide 5-watt one. Is there any cons of fast charging? Does it affect battery over time? Please share. I don't know. You guys love asking me about fast charging, and I don't do it. I have no idea. I don't know much about it. Um, but I don't believe it has any more significant of a long-term effect on the battery. I know that over time your battery just loses a certain amount of charge no matter how fast you're charging it, I think. Um, I'm pretty sure that will that will degrade over time regardless of whether you're fast charging or not. I don't know what the rule is on wireless charging if it hurts the battery more or less. I'm not sure, but I I don't mind that Apple doesn't include it, and it's mostly because most people who are buying music Sorry, most people who are buying Apple products have more than one, which means that they likely already have a power brick for their iPad or MacBook that can do fast charging anyway. So it means that no, they didn't include the larger bricks within the phone, within the package. But at the same time, most people buying iPhones already have the bricks. Like I could do it. I have a USB-C to Lightning cable, and I could easily fast charge my iPhone 10 with my MacBook charger. But I don't. I prefer the convenience of wireless. It's so much easier. Should I buy the AirPods or the HomePod? Well, given that Austin O'Brien, one of these is available now, I'm gonna say AirPods because they're a lot cheaper and you can take them with you. I mean, I'm getting the HomePod mostly for Apple Sheep reasons, and I think people just want me to get it because I'm an Apple Sheep. It would almost be hypocritical at this point for me to not review it because everyone's like, it's a brand new product lineup from Apple. It's my full time job now to review these kinds of tech products. So it'd almost be ridiculous for me to be like, don't want to, because then I would constantly be getting questions about it. Like I already don't really participate in the smart home appliances thing, and I already get bombarded with questions about that. So the HomePod thing would at least be a start, and I'm curious enough about it because it's a speaker that is supposedly has an emphasis on sounding good. So I'd love to hear it. And it's of course it would be in the Apple ecosystem. It's a brand new product lineup from them, so of course I want to review it out of curiosity. But at the same time, I'm not, as you guys know, terribly excited for the smart speaker industry. I've used Amazon Echoes, I've used the Google Assistants, and I still have it. Obviously, it's still plugged in, and if I call out that one phrase, it will hear me. But I'm not completely sold on that. Like, if what I'm saying is, if Apple did not make the HomePod and a different company made something like the HomePod, I probably wouldn't be very interested in it, just because uh, I love the Mega Boom the way it is, and I also wish that Apple would make a speaker that you could take with you. I find that so much more applicable. I love that when I want to take the Mega Boom on a hike or I want to take it in a different room, I can just grab it and move it with me. It's very simple. It's very easy. I like that about my Mega Boom, and it sounds great. I'm honestly very curious to see if the HomePod sounds better because it's a lot smaller. The HomePod is about this big. It's not a terribly large device, but at the same time, the Mega Boom is about the same volume and it sounds really good. So I'm curious. It's like if the HomePod sounds just as good, it's just a Mega Boom that I can't take with me. Um, but then, of course, I know that Siri is not as smart as the Google Assistant. But like I said, I don't really use the Google Assistant for a ton of things. A lot of people kept bringing up that I was just using the product wrong. Uh, I, which is a difficult argument for me because it's like, well, I need the I need the full experience of the Google Home Mini. It's kind of like your iPhone, like the only way to truly experience it is to buy all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, but I'm sold on the accessories for the iPhone, like the Apple Watch and the AirPods. You can take those anywhere. They work so seamlessly. The smart home thing doesn't, it's not a sell to me. When someone says that, but you pair it with smart home devices, it's like you're saving the time of a simple like gesture, flipping a switch. Like now you don't have to get up. Now you can do it when you're away from home. But it's like $40 a bulb, sometimes more. And it's like, I get it's convenient, but there's no way it's worth that much to me. I'll just keep flipping switches. It's not that hard. Instead of like opening your phone, going to Control Center and tapping something, you could just get up and flip the switch. I don't think that's faster. I think it could almost be faster to not, because if you call out like, "Hello Google, turn on these lights," and then it processes it and then the lights turn on versus flipping switch. Like I'm not sold on the smart home thing. I'm sorry. Um, so I guess if you're not sold on the smart home thing, it's very hard for you to like the Google Home Mini because I mean, just for me, I get everyone's like, it's cheap. It's $4, $30. Like, why not? Just buy it for the heck of it. And I can't argue with that. I mean, the fact that it almost causes no dent in anyone's bank account means that, yeah, you don't need my recommendation. You can buy it for yourself. Pretty much anyone with an internet connection can afford this thing. On privacy hurts them. Um, no, I don't really think it hurts them, but that's a great question. I don't. I think that the people who care about privacy are with Apple anyway, and the people who don't care about privacy are going to stay with Google regardless. If they know Google's looking at their stuff, most Google users do. No one's using Google services thinking that it's completely private and encrypted and stuff. I think they're not really keeping that in mind. They're just like, yeah, I mean, I have nothing to hide, and I don't blame them. I'm the same way. I use Google Photos. I use Google Drive. They make great services. YouTube, despite its problems, it's definitely one of a kind. Here we are. But that was more bought by Google. But anyway, um, I think I definitely think Google's not catching up with Apple on hardware. They're not even catching up with their primary competition. I wish that the Android developers would kind of fight with each other a bit more than they'd fight with Apple. I wish they would acknowledge that iOS users aren't really interested in switching. They like people online are like, oh, people will always buy Apple products. They always bring that up. You know, the Apple sheep army. People are going to buy Apple no matter what they release, which to an extent is true, but for some reason, Android developers don't seem to see it that way. I wish Android developers would acknowledge that, okay, there's just a certain fan base we cannot reach. Don't they? Oh, shoot. Why are we getting low bandwidth? That's not good. Sound keep going on and off. I'm sorry. Are we back? Yeah? Are we back now? This hardware sucks. Sound keep going on and off. I got a low bandwidth alert. I don't know why. Wi-Fi should be fine. Audio out. No sound. Sound again. Okay. Let me restart. It's back. Let me restart real quick. I'm going to turn it off real fast. Okay, should be live now. Should be better. Sound is fine. Audio bugging out. I'll be right back. Coming right back. Okay, we should be back. Sorry about that. I have no idea what's happening. You gotta disconnect things from Wi-Fi just for the heck of it. Sometimes I think Xfinity just has little hiccups. She's been lagging now. It's good now. Okay, it's working. We got people saying now it's okay. It's back. Okay, good. What was I talking about? The last super chat. Thank you. Okay, we should be back now. Sorry about that, everyone. No idea. I mean, everything's fine on my end, and then it's not lagging. Okay, good. Was about that. Google's definitely behind on the hardware, but I wish they would acknowledge that they're competing more with Samsung because we have a very hardcore Apple sheep army in the center of the Apple ecosystem. That's just like no. Even if the Note 8 looks better, even if it has better cameras, even the Pixel 2 looks better, has better cameras, we're not going to switch. We're stuck with our exclusives. There's a lot of people there. I wish Google Pixel and Samsung would be like, hey, we're competing with the same market, Android buyers. They don't mind Android. They want a good phone. I think the Galaxy lineup should be more aggressive towards the Pixel lineup. They haven't shown like any disregard. I guess maybe Samsung doesn't want to show any type of hate towards the owner of Android because they run Android, but at the same time, Samsung helps make iPhones, but they hit on iPhones. It's like don't don't advertise towards Apple because that's not going to work. I mean, Apple's sales still growing, and stock's still growing. You're not convincing people on that side of the argument. But people who might want the Pixel, you could convince them. You could listen to people's complaints about your skins, and you could maybe make Galaxy products more stock Android, and then kind of embed the Samsung services underneath, so they're harder to see. Or people prefer your skin a little bit better. I don't know, but I'm just saying. I wish these two companies would acknowledge that they're at ends. So to answer your question, I don't think Google will catch up with Apple on hardware. They've caught up with price points. So like they've really got down the expensive part, which is neat. But at the same time, um, I guess Google wants to spread Android more. Yeah, I mean that's how they make their money. Uh, the Apple's still far ahead in terms of both features and I think design preference. I think more people would take an iPhone 10 over a Pixel 2. And I think the sales are proving that. If you're seeing the extreme success with the iPhone lineup, like 6 million iPhone 10s I think were sold on a Black Friday weekend. It was crazy. And then, yeah, the software there's no comparison. I mean that's what Google's really lacking on. And yeah, I think Apple can catch up with Google on services. It's just a matter of time. the problem with services with Google is that they're not doing Google's not doing services expecting any profit. They're making so much money from ad revenue with Google search that they can just set up services that burn money just for the sake of having them, just for the sake of um, data mining or collecting user data. Like they can make an unlimited Photos app like Google Photos, back up all the videos you want, all the pictures you want, and then just store them there, and that's it. Whereas Apple, they make money by selling products, so everything they sell takes money to produce. It takes money to manufacture, R&D department, and everything. Everything costs money for Apple, whereas Google's just, I mean, it costs money for Google, but they're just like, Avenue, we have developed a infinite source of money. So Apple doing services is also Apple burning money, but also Apple has a ton of money. So, and I believe they have more cash in the bank than Google does. Um, so it would be interesting, but I definitely think that Apple could catch up with the cloud services and say, like, you know what? Okay, we can afford this now. We have the server space for it now. iOS users can have unlimited photo and video backup in the iCloud. That's probably not going to come for a while, but it'll definitely happen one day. And then Google loses a little bit of their traction. They could make iCloud Drive uh, default to 20 gigs for free, opposed to Google's 15. They could start outperforming them there. But again, that's just money gone for Apple. But again, that's iOS development right now. You know, you don't have to pay to update your phone, which is nice. And currently, that's the way it is. But of course, developing all of these iOS fixes and all of these iOS updates is definitely not free. It definitely costs money. There's tons of engineering. There's tons of coders behind all of this. Like it's just Apple having to burn money for the sake of hoping that more people keep buying the product. So it's important. Okay. What type of music do you listen to? Check out Taylor Swift music. That's my kind of music. I like remixes. Do you recommend Mac Mini for a beginner for video editing? I mean, pretty much any Mac, if you're doing pretty much any Mac really can do beginner video editing. I can't think of a Mac that can't. A beginner is likely editing 1080p, maybe 60 FPS if you're filming stuff on your phone. And even Final Cut can do 4K on fairly small spec MacBooks and stuff. So yeah, I don't. Pretty much any Mac. Mac Mini will work. Yep, 12-inch MacBook would work. Even a MacBook Air, which I don't recommend buying, but if you have one, it could do light video editing. Anyway, next super chat. Keep up the great work on the channel. Just wanted to see if you will be updating the end credits for Patreon Pro donors. No rush, just asking. Yes, we're always working on that. I gotta get more recently because Nathan's still editing a lot of the tech videos. I gotta update him with the list, with the Patreon Pro donors list. So we'll go over that soon. Hopefully before tomorrow's video. Today the tech stream is your video, but yeah, that list is constantly being updated, and it's very difficult to keep in mind because more recently, especially on Patreon, there's a lot of people joining and leaving at the same time, and trying to keep track of all of that can get hectic. But yes, thank you for a donation, and yes, we can update that very soon, hopefully. And of course, we mess up all the time. There's a ton of names, and it's easy to get confused. We can spell them wrong. We are people. This is not a robot that automatically updates the Patreon outro. So if we do mess up, if your name should be there and it's not, or your name is spelled incorrectly, you can just DM us on Patreon. That's the best way to get a hold of us. Because luckily, Instagram DMs are very full. Facebook DMs are very full. Twitter ats are always flooded. But luckily, Patreon direct messages are usually pretty light, so I can answer most of those. Do you think Apple should make an Apple Watch Pro? Yes, and I have no idea what that would do, but I had an idea for one that like had a wider display or something, like a larger one. I don't know. Do you think Apple will release a quad-core 13-inch MacBook Pro together with the new iMac Pro? I think you'd hear about it first. The iMac Pro we know about, and we're just waiting for it to become available, but yeah. Hey, didn't Jaybird make true wireless earbuds? Hoping MKBHD puts out a review soon. Jaybirds, huh? Yeah, I don't know. What is that in front of your MacBook? What do you mean in front? The adapter, probably. I got this dongle hanging on for dear life. I kind of like the cables being down here, and so USB-C holds onto it really well. But the best adapter I have for USB-C, quack quack. Did you really work on a farm? I did. This is real. You can watch this on Hello World. I worked on a mandarin ranch, which is not uncommon here in Oroville, California. That's a very common thing. It's not a big city where or there's a lot of rural areas, and there's a lot of work, in fact, out in the ranches. So yeah, it's not an uncommon thing. Thank you, Junkie, donating again. Could you, in theory, troll iPhone users in crowded places by opening and closing the AirPod case? Will the pairing prompt appear on everyone's phone? Not saying I would. Well, I guess you could, but AirPods really only do that when I think they're. I think when I read the instructions for the AirPod, it was like that. You have to be like 2 inches away from the iPhone for them to pop up. Like the AirPods have to be relatively close. Close. It's not like you open it and within a 10-foot radius they all pop up. That's not how it works. It has to be pretty close. Um, and I believe, excuse me, sorry, I believe once it finds a device that it wants to show the battery to, usually it'll stick to that one. It won't. It wouldn't show up on like 40 iPhones that were surrounding it. So no, I don't think that would work. Of course, with Google products, you could just say that "Hello Google," except not "Hello," and all of those would go off. Like, for instance, 176 people watching. If I called out that command, a lot of devices would go off. And as the tech channel gets bigger, as the live streams get more popular, that only gets worse. That problem only gets worse. Who are favorite YouTubers apart from tech YouTubers? I don't actually watch a lot of tech YouTubers, and I don't really have many favorites. I usually disagree with them. I don't really have a favorite tech YouTuber. Honest, I my favorite YouTuber is Red Letter Media. Most of the YouTube channels I watch are not tech channels. Call out that command. No, it just annoys everyone. It's unnecessary. I've heard that supposedly Apple is shutting down the servers for the iPods in a few months. Is that true? Wouldn't surprise me. As I've always said, iPods could be discontinued at any time. I'm just waiting for that headline, and then I'll probably make a video about it. Um, yeah, when the Nano and Shuffle were discontinued, I was shocked. I was like, why didn't they discontinue the Touch? I don't know why. I suppose because it runs iOS and because it has Apple Music technically, which means that it's still technically an Apple Music playing device, and they want as many Apple Music subscriptions as possible. So I guess they stick that around. But again, I think one reason they might have kept around the Touch is that I believe it can run iOS 11, but unless they update it, uh, I don't think it will be able to run iOS 12. And when iOS 12 comes out, that's probably when they'll discontinue it. If I had to put a point on it. But again, like everyone's like, yeah, it's good for kids. But at the same time, most kids are just getting iPhones now. I mean, not brand new ones. No, some kids do get brand new iPhones, but most of the time, parents, if they want their kid to have a device of sorts, they'll give them their old iPhone, or they'll buy a used or refurbished iPhone that's really cheap, and then you'll get something that's pretty good at a low price. You can get used iPhone 6S's and 6s, which have a Touch ID sensor, which the iPod Touch does not. Like, so behind the times, hasn't been updated in so long. They swapped the processors out in them, but that was about it. Um, and no, I don't think new iPods are coming. I think the fact that if you used to have a certain dedicated section on Apple.com and now you've been degraded to the music section, it means that you're on your way out. iPod Touch could literally be discontinued at any day, and it'd be like, oh, yep, that's what I thought. Do you think that iPad could replace your laptop? It depends on what you use your laptop for. For like my parents, definitely. Like my parents were using laptops for email, Facebook, internet access, just like looking things up, YouTube, playing music, watching videos, and stuff like that. Like for that, absolutely. For people like me who need advanced editing machines or live streaming devices or something with a bit more power in them, then no. But I think laptops could replace about I'm saying iPads could replace about half of the people who were using laptops don't need to use laptops anymore because a lot of people were just using them for email, web browsing, and that's all they wanted laptops for. Writing papers. A lot of the time, people ask me, like, I'm a college student, which MacBook should I get? And I always say you don't need one. College students could save a lot of money just by getting iPads. They're perfectly mobile, very capable products that you can type on, you can do projects on, do email. It's perfectly reasonable on there. Is a front camera on a MacBook a good idea? Well, I mean, if front, you mean this one. If you mean on here, no, that's stupid. I must say no. What they should have is Face ID, which would be great. You just open the MacBook and bloop, it would be really slick. Yes. Drew, do you think you will usually actually use up the 256 gigs on the iPhone 10 to 64 gig enough, considering that you will probably upgrade within 2 to 3 years? To me, it's always been about are you going to be filming and taking pictures a lot? I don't think, honestly, that through music you could fill up to 256, maybe, but again, that'd be a lot of music, and most people aren't listening to that much. I don't really think with apps you could fill up to 256. That's a lot of apps, and you'd probably not be using all of them. I can't think of someone who would be continuously using all the apps and yet be running out of 256. Usually, if you are going to surpass that, it's going to be because pictures and video. And if you're vlogging, if you're an avid photo taker with your phone, if you take lots of videos, then yeah, then you could fill that up eventually. But it would definitely take a better part of a year. I could fill up 64 pretty easily. My back when I first got the iPhone 5, I had 64, and I definitely filled it up. It took a while, but yeah. And then when I moved to the 6 Plus, I got 128, and I think I came close to filling it up, but not quite. I've never got the alert that said storage almost full. I never got that on this. But the idea is no, you probably don't. You probably don't use the 256. Most people aren't. That's the idea though. If you have more than enough storage, you'll never have to worry about filling it up, which I prefer. Donkey donated again and says, if I buy AirPods and pair them with my Galaxy S5, could an iPhone user hijack my pods when I open the case? Do Android phones pair with the case or pods? I actually like the idea of AirPods. Android phones pair with the case or pod. Yeah, they Android phones work. They're just like any other pair of wireless headphones. Which is shocking. I actually thought Apple would make AirPods like exclusive to Apple products, but they didn't. You can pair AirPods with Android devices. You lose a lot of the functionality, like the tapping thing and the W1 chip, but you can do it. They can just be Bluetooth. Um, okay, so there's Durka Durkas. He says, I've used 100 gigabytes on my 7 Plus, and I have over 300 videos and 3,000 pictures. For some people, that's not a lot. For some people, that is a lot. But yeah, to just give you an idea. But yeah. Um, yes, the super chat was asking about the AirPods, which I don't think an iPhone user could hijack. Um, but keep in mind, yeah, the AirPods, just like any other pair of headphones, they don't have a secure locking mechanism. I mean, I guess you could make the same argument that if you left a wired pair of headphones out on your desk, he could take those, pair them to his phone, and start listening. But at the same time, as long as you have the case, and actually, no, as long as the AirPods are paired to your phone, that pop up wouldn't appear. They would show up as not your AirPods. And the only way he could connect to your AirPods is if he held the button on the back. So as long as he's not holding them, then no, he cannot hijack them. If you started holding the button on the back of the AirPods, then he could start pairing. But just simply don't do that. It's very easy. Exactly. Okay, Jansen's telling me. You need to press the button to connect it. So yeah, no one could hijack it unless they had the pods themselves. But yes, to answer your question, if your AirPods are stolen, there's no iCloud, there's no login method for AirPods. They're just headphones, similar to headphone jack headphones or lightning headphones. You didn't need a password to access them. I'm having issues with my screen scratching very easily on my iPhone 10. They're all micro scratches that you can only see in the right light. Do you have the same issue? Well, that's kind of just what phones do, but I'll look. At least in my light, no. I had a couple fingerprints here, I guess, but nope. I mean, I've been babying mine. Keep in mind, there's things that you may run into in life that could lightly scratch the phone. One thing I think that's very common that not a lot of people realize is that your jeans have little metal pins keeping their pockets together. Usually, where I put my phone is in the pockets. And when you put your phone uh, in your pocket, those little metal pins can very easily scrape on the glass, and over time that piles up. You can pay attention to car keys, pay attention to metal objects you may be using that can uh, scuff on the display. And if that's something that commonly happens to you, yeah, definitely get a screen protector. I just baby mine. Once I found out about those pins in the jeans, I immediately decided that, okay, I'll use it caseless around the office and at home. But as soon as it goes in my pocket, I'm putting a case on it. Like I'm never gonna put it in screen facing me, and I'm always gonna keep it screen facing out. And when I do, I'm gonna have a case on so that I don't scratch the back or the front. So yeah, keep a sharp eye for things like that. Very educational. Okay, it might be pocket sand too. Yes. Yeah, I have the Beats X. They're great. AirPods fall out of my ears. I'm sorry. There's a lot of people that say that. But then a lot of people are like, earpods fall out of my ear, but AirPods don't. So I don't know. You like the boxy design of the SC? A lot of people don't want to see this go. Yeah. A lot of people just want this to stay forever. But a lot of people want old iPhone designs to come back. They're like, what if they made it like the 4 without bezels? It's like, no, they don't move. They don't move that far back. They wouldn't make that drastic of a change. But yeah. Does Android take up more space than iOS? That's a good question. I bet you could Google that, but yeah, I don't know. My 10 dropped while vibrating and it went back first and somehow it didn't crack. That's good. Yeah, it's been a mixed bag. That's why I don't get drop tests, is that they're completely random. Sometimes if you drop a phone at a high elevation, it'll be perfectly fine. Sometimes you can drop it from a low elevation and it'll crack the entire thing. You never know. That's why I don't think people should watch drop tests and then think, "Oh, that's how durable my phone is." It's so many variables. It's like how it fell, what it fell on, and the angle at which it fell on which it'll crack. Don't watch a drop test and let that account for how durable a product is. Did your iPhone 10 battery life decrease after iOS 11.2? No, I'm sorry. I guess I'm on the beta program, so I don't know what the full release of 11.2 is like. But yeah, I got my credit cards in a folio style case, and the credit cards are rubbing against my screen on the 10. Actually, have some small scratches now. Oh, geez. Yeah, how though? I don't have the folio case anymore. The winner of the Patreon giveaway has received it, and he sent me pictures of it. Um, but you're supposed to. Are you supposed to have the cards? I have the box for it. Doesn't it have a little paper in it that's like have the stripe upwards or something? There's a certain place you put the cards. I don't know. Yeah, look it up. What do you think of iOS powered by Siri? Imagine you don't have to say the term, then take notes or send me an email. Instead, you naturally say call blah blah blah. Well, that's what I said in my HomePod Face ID videos. That wouldn't it be better if digital assistants just understood you whenever you looked at them and they knew that that was you calling their command? But they would also have to understand context, as I explained in the video, is that there are plenty of times you'd be looking at your device but not necessarily talking to it. You wouldn't be giving it a command, and it would just have to know, like, okay, he's talking to me, but I don't think he wants me to do anything. Like, for instance, I was just looking at my iPhone 10, but I was talking about it. I was not giving it a command, so the computer would be hearing that and being like, I don't hear a command, so I'm not going to do anything. I hate that. I hate my SE. It has a soft material. It did break after 2 days. Jeez. Don't drop it. Android apps have malware. That's not good. Would Apple Pay Cash work in Belgium if you set the phone region to US? I don't think that's how it works. I think there's a bit more to it than that, so I'm going to say no. That's up to machine learning, Drew. Yes, but I think machine learning should be in practice and released when ready, unlike Google, who release things before they're ready. Then make it a suggestion as context awareness. Yes, it would definitely need to be understanding context awareness to work. Which I'm saying is possible. I think a computer could figure that out. They'd be like, this is not a command. But a certain sentence, it would be like, that is a command, let me act on that. I don't think foldable tech is the future. I know there's a lot of patents for that, but I feel like that's something you think you want, and then you'd get it and be like, yeah, this isn't what I want. I I think I like having rigidness to devices. I love that they have a structure to them, and having devices that have the option of bending and, like, I don't know, would be the advantage. I mean, you have a phone, now you have an iPad. It's a lightly bigger, I guess, but yeah, it'd be kind of weird. I have a question. Is the Apple Watch Series 3 any good because cellular data don't work in some countries like mine? It's great. As I said in my video, even if you don't have cellular, like, it's still an improvement. I mean, if you don't have cellular in your country, you can just get the regular Series 3. It's at a pretty good price point, too. Or, of course, you can buy a used Series 2. But, yeah. Maybe if it does come in your country later, you could activate it if you have the cellular. I want to get the iMac Pro, and I want to know as soon as it's available. I have no idea when it's available, and I'm really scared it's going to get delayed. I really don't want that to happen. I'm really scared that's going to happen. Any case recommendations for the 10 that protects it but still keeps that sexy factor of the glass back? So you're talking about a bumper case? Because what I'd recommend is these silicone cases. I love these things because what I appreciate in a case, something that makes it feel secure, but at the same time easy to take off because I love using my phone caseless. And with the silicone case, when I want to put it on, I'm leaving. Snap, I'm on. When I'm done with it, peel off, off. Simple. Whereas the OtterBox cases or those grip cases or whatever, there's these plastic layer and the rubber layers. I don't think those are actually more durable. I think a silicone case is very rigid and very safe. But I think it provides your mind with more security. That it's like, oh yeah, this is a bulky phone. This isn't going to break. In reality, I don't think it saves much. I've seen people with OtterBoxes still break their phone when they drop them. They definitely are durable. I'm not arguing that. I'm just saying the fact that they're so difficult to take off makes it not worth it to me because I love using my phone without the case. It feels wonderful. Water resistance AirPods is coming or not? Well, watch a couple videos on AirPods water resistance now. They're pretty good. You can drop AirPods in water and they'll be pretty okay. I think they have a similar water resistance to the iPhone 7. They definitely have more water resistance than earpods. They have like an extra layer of sealant for like sweat and stuff. But at the same time, yeah, everything Apple Pro I remember dropped them in a tub of water and they kept working. So yeah, they're pretty good. They could definitely improve them. Water resistance could always be improved. But yeah, they're pretty good as they are. But I mean, are you listening to music while swimming? I don't know. In my opinion, iPhone 10 could have implemented fingerprint sensor in the side button. What are your thoughts on that? Is fingerprint authentication that much of an obsolete tech? Keep in mind, anytime you guys ask me about Touch ID, I have a bias against it because it doesn't work. My hands don't let me use Touch ID because of my psoriasis disease. So I'm already like, what if they brought it back? I wouldn't care. I couldn't use it. So it's already a bias question. It's a bias answer as soon as you ask me. I'm going to give you a bias answer because it doesn't work. But I'm saying that I think the side button does not have enough surface area to get a registered fingerprint. There are phones that do, yes, use the fingerprint, but they're very small and the buttons usually have to be flat. iPhone side button is round and pretty elongated, so setting it up would be kind of difficult. And I think it would be confusing to rest your phone on the button versus clicking it. This button already has so much functionality as it is, and a lot of people aren't okay with that. They're like, you access Siri and you shut it down, and the Force Restart, and the Apple Pay, and the power. Like, I think that's great. I think it's functionality. It's like that button is efficient, but at the same time, having that button be something you can rest your finger on and click and double click and hold click, I think would be a little too much for people. We got a PayPal donation. Thank you very much. For those of you who don't know, you can also donate on PayPal. And he said, for the iMac Pro, can't wait for your review. Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you very much. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, iMac Pro, I think I saved my money correctly. I think I put just enough aside every month. And I think it's going to work out. I don't want people thinking that it's nothing to me because I don't want people thinking that a $5,000 computer is like, of course I'm buying the iMac Pro. I don't want people thinking it's a given. It is definitely a lot of money. The most expensive Apple product, maybe even product I've ever bought in my life. So for that reason, it is very, very, yes, it's very, very expensive. But the difference is, as soon as they unveiled it, I started putting money aside every single month. I was like, okay, if every month I put this much aside, I should be okay. Which I did. My car was not as much as the iMac Pro, but I did get a great deal on the car, to be fair. Yeah, my car was cheaper than this computer, but at the same time, I use my computers more than I use my car, so I'm fairly okay with it. But yeah, that's a lot of money, but I'm definitely looking at the iMac Pro as it is overkill for my needs now. But if I want to make more strides towards the future, as in like better cameras that film at really high frame rates, really high resolution, I want a computer that's going to be able to handle that down the road. So I buy desktops that'll last for years. I don't buy them thinking about the next year. I'm hoping this iMac Pro is going to last me 4 to 5 years. Anyway, What car? It's a Hyundai. It's cheap, but it works. It's got, when it's filled all the way up with gas, it's 430 miles. So it's a good mileage. I don't have to fill it up too often, and then at the same time, comfortable. AC. There's cooling, there's heating. That's all I need in a car. Basics. I'm not a car guy. Where are you going to put your iMac Pro? Probably right on this desk, and it would be right on this wall. It would be right in between the desks. I mean the shelves. No, Steve Jobs is not living in Brazil. Yes, I can. I'm pretty sure I can approach that. Um, but yeah, I'll definitely be getting the base iMac Pro. There's really nothing I can upgrade to. I'll be fine with a terabyte. I have a ton of external drives, and since it's not mobile, those can be plugged in at all the time. Basically, all four traditional USB ports on that, I'm going to fill with my old external hard drives so that whenever I turn this device on, it'll automatically have all that backed up. And I think, see, I have a bunch of old backup drive, Western Digital ones, but of course they're stationary, so they're not constantly plugged into the MacBook Pro. Um, but when I need to offload a ton of footage, I have them. So I have a 4 terabyte, an 8 terabyte, a 2 terabyte, and a one yeah, and a 1 terabyte. So that with the iMac Pro's 1 terabyte, like combined, it's gonna have a ton of storage on it. But yeah, the MacBook Pro, yes, Josh, you're absolutely right. For right now, for my purposes on YouTube, MacBook Pro is great, but it's already starting to reach its limits, and mostly with the storage space. It's especially when I do Adobe Premiere kind of stuff, like 256 gig was definitely, I think, the wrong decision when I bought this thing. I thought that would be enough. And for the first 6 months of using it, it was enough. It was perfectly fine. But as I switched to YouTube full time, as I'm editing more and more things now and filming more and more things, it becomes very, very tedious to constantly have a portable hard drive constantly around that I have to keep plugging into for the MacBook Pro. So it's just not efficient anymore. And I have an office now. Back when I bought this, I had to upload. I could not upload at my own house, so I had to constantly be taking my computer places to upload anyway. So I was like, that's why I wanted a laptop. Now I have a dedicated workspace. Now I have Wi-Fi that works, so I can just keep. I can buy a desktop now. It makes sense to for the speed, for the storage space, and yeah, for what I'm filming right now, I don't need it. But I'm anticipating on making more investments into 2018 with much heavier dutier cameras that film at really high frame rates, that film at RAW and film at high resolution, so that hopefully the videos look better, and I'll also be filming a ton more stuff. So I want a computer that can support all that. You have more storage on your iPad than my Mac. I do, and that's one of the backup plans I had for if my iPhone ran out of space. Because originally I was planning on getting the base storage model iPhone 10, but then when the iPhone 10 came out, it was not as much as I thought. See, I was anticipating you could get 256 for 1200 when it came out, so I was like, oh, well, that's not bad. I'll just get the top of the line iPhone 10 to be like $1,400, and that's what I was saving for. But then I found out, I was like, if my 64 gig iPhone 10 fills up, I'll airdrop the stuff onto the iPad because the iPad has half a terabyte on it, which is great. But luckily, I can afford both. So now I just have an iPad that will definitely never run out of storage. Better notes taker. Yeah. I still use my iPad every day, but yeah, it's nice knowing that basically nothing I can do will ever fill up the storage. I like that. I mean, people are like, "Are you going to need that much?" And it's like, "No. You don't want to need the exact amount." Especially since they made it once you buy it, you can't upgrade the storage, money grab it. Dude, like the upgrading storage thing is like they want the storage to be fast. That's why they make it PCIe based. And they want it to be an all-in-one design. If you wanted to upgrade the storage in your iMac Pro, it'd be a very complicated process. It would just the way it's built is very difficult. And I mean, people still buy iMacs. They're perfectly fine with being like, that's the storage. I'll stick with that. They don't necessarily want everyone to be like, okay, when you run out of storage, buy another one. And I mean, buy another storage drive, open up the device, and slip it into slots that weren't being used. Like, that's not the purpose of an all-in-one. The all-in-one is about being efficient with space. They don't have extra room in there for extra solid-state drives. If you wanted to replace it, you'd be losing all of your old files, and then you'd have to transfer them all over. Apple just wants it to work. So get the right storage configuration you want. There are extremely complicated ways you can replace the storage, but yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. What iPhone would you use from the 5S down if your iPhone 10 stopped working? From the 5S down, probably the 5S, because that's a more recent one. I don't have a 5S, though, so I wouldn't have that. Awkward, very bizarre hypothetical that luckily I don't have to actually deal with. Like, pretty cool design, like pretty photogenic even to this day. Kind of looks like the Pixel 2, at the top. If you hold it this way, it's a Pixel phone now. Oh my God, with the black top. Oh, no, it's original iPhone. Wonder where they got that idea. But this, I mean, it looks cool, but my God, was this impractical. I mean, was the idea it just fits in the hand better if the whole back was round? It's so tiny. Like the keyboard on here. This is running iOS 6. Oh, did we lose brightness or something? I can barely, like the backlight is off. I hope it's okay. You guys saw that, right? That's weird. I hope it didn't just die on me. Anyway, there's a super chat. Okay. Let's see. Are you excited for the 512 gigabyte as much as me? Hi, by the way. I don't know on what. What are we excited for that on? 512 iPhone 10. I don't think that's coming anytime soon. I think 256 is probably overkill. I hope it's not broken. It was just on. Did I touch something? Jeez. I wonder if that kicked it. That would suck. I don't think anyone needs a 512 gigabyte iPhone 10, to be honest. Jeez, I wonder if that kicked it. Oh, it's restarting. It crashed. That's what happened. There's the screen. I thought the display literally shut off. It just crashed because, you tried to open it. That's the 3G, everyone. I mean, these are older, but they still work. They haven't crashed yet. I haven't had that happen. Slide down. Lock screen. Boom, still works. Very slow, but works. The keyboard is so tiny. What new tech should Apple venture next, in your opinion? Cars. Cars and AR glasses. AR glasses I know is happening already, but the car thing is kind of a mystery. It's like they're working on something with cars. I don't know if it's the car itself or it's the software, but at the same time, that's something like, I think Tesla needs a competitor, and there's lots of companies that are ambitious about it. They're like, oh, we're the Tesla killer. Oh, we're the Tesla killer. But none of them sell anything. None of them actually sell cars, whereas Apple, being one of the richest companies in the world, the richest company in the world, I think they actually have the money to do it. They could actually afford to. Will they make a 1 terabyte iPad Pro? That'd be kind of funny. I don't know why, but I'm going to say no, because I doubt many people's complaints with the current iPad Pro lineup is that the 512 gigabytes ran out on my iPad Pro. There's not enough space. They'll probably keep 512 around for another year. If they... would be crazy, lol. Good luck even filling up 256. That easily 128 should be more than enough, considering Apple ecosystem allows either. Yeah. I understand. Everyone's like, 128's the perfect amount. Why did they remove it? It's like, well, some people go over to 128, which is true, and they couldn't have too much different models because Face ID sensors were very limited. That's why there's only 2 colors. That's why there wasn't a SIM-free option at launch. Now you can get an iPhone 10 without a SIM, which is great. But yeah, at the same time, they needed to make as many of them as possible. I think they did the right thing by making 2 storage configurations that hopefully fit everyone. 64, 256. Hopefully that was enough. But yeah. iPhone's my favorite Apple product, easily. Love this thing. Use this thing the most by far. Face ID still works, and I love it. Yeah, we've certainly come a long way since the OG iPhone. Man, it showed the Apple logo, and here we are. The backlight shut off or something? I'm concerned for this little 3G. The little 3G that couldn't... I wonder what that means. My goodness. Okay. You're at 180 gigabytes. Wow, that was fast, Ruben. You filled up your space fast. For a college student, here we go. What's the best MacBook for mild photo/video editing, PowerPoint, paper writing, etc.? And should I get 8 or 16 gigs of RAM? Which processor? I think you'd be fine with a 12-inch MacBook. If you're talking mild, mild to me is 1080p. Video editing, photo editing really isn't that power intensive. You could get by with a 12-inch MacBook, and it's really portable, and probably a little bit cheaper than a MacBook Pro. But yeah, if you need those extra ports, if you could see yourself using that extra USB-C. Thank you, Brandon Zinn, who says, "What do you want to see in iOS 12?" I get that question a lot. I really don't know. I want to see more theme packs, but they're kind of already doing that. Like there's settings in third-party apps now that let you change um, the app icon, which is kind of what I was talking about in my iOS 11 wish list. I'd like to see face chat bubbles like they have on Android, built within iMessage. Siri could get smarter. Like, there's not a ton of things. There's not a ton of ideas I have. That's why there's not an iOS 12 video. If I get enough ideas, I'll make one. But yeah, I really don't know. It's really fine the way it is. I'm curious to see what they'll improve upon. Obviously, there's a ton of software changes they could make just for the 10, but that wouldn't really change a ton of things on everything else. Um, Check the dark mode in iPhone 10. Yeah. I know about it. Here. Yes. Um, it's very simple to just one, two, three. Oh, I shut it off. I tapped it one too many times. Dark mode. Yeah, I have that like set in. Oh, okay, the fan who sent me these said the 3GS has a bad battery. That could be the problem. Okay. All right. I just hope it wasn't me who broke it. I don't think I did anything wrong to it. I I, I hope I didn't break it. Don't want to break it for you. It's not dark mode. Yeah, it's smart invert. But why is that an option? Who would actually turn that on? What's the advantage? I mean, it saves battery life, but it makes things look weird. And why doesn't smart invert understand that emojis should not be inverted? Why can't it figure that out? It's getting better over time, but still. They could just make smart inverts so good that it's dark mode. They need to get rid of the volume pop up in the middle of the screen. It is too intrusive. They should put it in the corner like on videos. Yeah, I would like that. They could do, I think Snapchat did it too, where you have the bar at the top going down. That's good. For a while in the iOS 11 beta, they didn't have it on at all, and I kind of loved it. There was no visuals for your volume. And it's like, that's kind of great because you, first of all, one, you would not be changing your volume if nothing was playing, because why? And second of all, if volume is playing, you can already hear. You can already hear the volume, and when you're changing the volume, you would hear it get quieter. So what if the visuals, which of course are only at the top, not in the dead center middle of the screen, the visuals are only on the top when nothing is playing. If something is playing, don't show any visuals. I feel like that setting is that's so easy. Is the gray app mode on iPhone 7 Plus? I don't know. I don't know. Do you still use the S8? No. The S8 was gone long time ago. I wasn't using it enough, and I made a video on why I ditched the S8. Is because it wasn't holding up. It was aging horribly, so it's gone. Now it's gone. I got that 4S from my dad. He bought now uses an iPhone 6. Okay. Hey Drew, would you say that iPhone 10 lived up to the hype? I mean, they were selling out like crazy, but based on your experience, would you say it's enough to match all the hype? For me, it was. It exceeded expectations, but that was because my expectations weren't very high. Obviously, when hype is high, typically no, that it's not met. You're usually not reaching expectations because ideas will always sell better than products. The idea of a product is amazing. Execution, there's always problems. Once you have the full-fledged product in your hands, you can criticize it. But when you let your imagination build up a product, it feels perfect. It feels like, oh my God, this changes everything. And then you get it and you're like, oh, that's not what I wanted. But for me it was, but I have realistic expectations. I wasn't expecting this thing to change my life. I wasn't expecting it to completely blow away the smartphone game. But I did find it incredibly intuitive. I found the display more pleasant than I thought it would be. I thought it was just going to be fewer bezels. I was not expecting the better contrast ratio, the better look of OLED on an iPhone. For that reason, I was my expectations were surpassed. I didn't think it would be this good, and it's amazing. I love it. For a good week, it was hard to put it down. The first week I had it, I was just constantly wanting to use it because it was such a pleasure to use. Now, thankfully, I can go back to the times where I leave my iPhone at home or at the office, and I just use my Apple Watch Cellular again because sometimes it's like, I don't need the, I don't need it anymore. I've gotten used to the display. But that's any product. You know, the wow factor wears off. For other people, it hasn't. When other people use my phone, they're like, "Whoa, this is cool," which is neat. But at the same time, yeah, I don't. Um, you get used to it, just like any phone. And I'm coming up. We're nearing a month now, right? Yeah, got it on November 3rd. Yeah, November 3rd. So we're past a month, and it's great. The iPhone 10 is performing great. I have no complaints. It still runs great. There's no OLED burn in. It doesn't overheat. Never plugged anything into it. Just wonderful. Best phone I've ever bought. Ever. As bezel-less designs are the current trend, what do you think the next trend will be with smartphones? That's the problem, man. They're running out. There's not going to be a great new trend. I mean, I would say the next trend is removing the last port, but most people wouldn't call that the next big thing. They would just call that annoying. And MKBHD would be mad, and Unbox Therapy would be mad, and the tiny companies like OnePlus are going to be like, we give users the option, and then 5 years later they'll cave in and do the same thing. Even less bezels. Is that really a trend? Like you could shrink the bezels even further. You could remove the notch, but still, that wouldn't change the way you use your phone. And it wouldn't change the way the phone looks by much. It's all incremental changes out from here on out. I mean, there's new features you can come up with, whether it's Face ID. But the reason smartphone developers are taking this design approach, where it's how pretty can we make our phone look, is because they're running out of the functionality. And if you acknowledge that hardware is continually improving and becoming cheaper, it means that eventually all of these hardware features are going to be so indistinguishable from other phones, software is going to be the only thing you're buying into. The issue is going to be, you know, Samsung phone camera, Pixel camera, iPhone camera. They're all good. They all look practically the same. And they're all not going to have a headphone jack. They're all going to have a pretty good pair of wireless headphones with them. They're all going to have really decent battery life. They'll all have wireless charging. All their displays will look great. Once you start perfecting all these things, definitely these companies are running out of things they can add. They're running out of things for you to get excited for. Please donate iPhone 10. Been waiting since what? Still nothing. I'm not donating an iPhone 10. I only have one. I need that one. And yeah, Apple does not have to worry about the software part. That's the issue Android developers have to have, is that hardware is going to start all being matched in the future. Right now it's pretty far apart, but we're already reaching that point where it's like cameras are all kind of getting the same, charging features are all getting the same. Y'all got your fast charging. Headphones will all be included, fast chargers all included, wireless charging all included. Once you get to that point, whoever has the best software is going to win. And so far, I think that's Apple. Do you use any iCloud features such as iCloud Photo Library, and is it worth paying for extra iCloud storage? It is. Yeah, I know it costs it costs a little bit, but $3 a month. I mean, it's practically nothing. I mean, it's very convenient that when you're done with the device, you can just back up a whole copy of it and then restore it from that backup. That's really easy, and iCloud Backup allows that. I pay for the 200 gigabyte option, which is plenty. Like Photo Library, it works. Backups, it works. Yeah, I love it for that. It's only $3. So I barely noticed it. I think I signed up for it like that. I was like, oh, am I out? Okay, bye. $3 a month is nothing. It's fine. Even for someone on a budget, that's really not much. So that's like a Google Home Mini a month. Come on. Do you know the iPhone 10 costs $370 to make? The parts, yes. I wish people would acknowledge more that it's not a the iPhone 10 is not a $600 profit margin, because you're acting like all the parts already existed and all of the manufacturing processes were already sitting there. Like the parts for the iPhone 10 cost $370, but think of the research and development. Think of all the money they poured into trying to figure out Touch ID in the display, all the money and experimentation that went into Face ID, all of the software development they had to take for a new aspect ratio to develop the notch. Think of the design schemes. R&D had to take the OLED display technology. They had to buy all these panels from Samsung. They had to buy up factories and hire factories to say, I need, they had to tell them we need tens of millions of these devices. All of that is not cheap. The parts is a tiny aspect of it. The parts themselves is a very tiny aspect. With paying for the factory, paying for the employees, paying for the lineups of development teams that have to assemble these things, or the concept team that has to experiment and think, what can we do on the iPhone 10 and what can't we do? Like, people take that out of context very easily. They're just like, it only costs $370. Apple could charge $500 and still make a profit. No, Apple even issued statements saying that the iPhone 10 was particularly lower priced. Like, the profit margin on it is not terribly high, because so much money went into R&D, so much money went into assembling it. Think of all the manufacturing issues they ran into. It's very difficult. If not Apple and not Samsung, what phone would you use? Probably an LG V30. Essential phone, really good. Not a Pixel. Okay, you're not going to get me to say Pixel. If you had to use the Pixel, what Pixel would you use? There you go. There's your question. Have you tried VR? Should Apple go that route? I have, and I think it's cool, but it's not the next consumer thing. It's not for consumers. I think it's something you should go to and visit, like a roller coaster. It's fun, but it's not something that everyone's going to have. Too complicated, too expensive, not enough applications for it. Doesn't It's not socially comfortable. Not enough people are comfortable with it socially, just like blindfolding themselves. Yeah. $1,400, that would have sucked. Yeah, but 1,400 I would have been okay with if it was like a premium package. If it was like iPhone 10 costs $1,400. However, you get a fast charger included, like a USB-C brick with a USB-C to Lightning cable. You get AirPods included, and you get a wireless charger included. If that was the whole package, I'd be like, okay, $1,400, I can do that. You get like everything you need, every possible. Then at least the Android users could stop complaining about it. You have to pay extra for all this stuff. It's like, no, it's all in one box. Everything, it's all there. Yeah, it would be with AirPods, which is a $160 value, a wireless charger with fast charging. It could be a $60 value. The USB-C brick with fast charger, another $50. Like, it would be a good deal overall. I would have paid for that. That would have been cool. If you had to use a Google Pixel best phone ever, which Pixel would you use? The 2XL, yeah. Having used one, I mean, I played with a Google Pixel 2. I hated the display. It looks so ugly. It's the most disgusting phone. When will the lightning cable be removed? The cable you can remove now, but the port, I'm guessing that's what you were asking about. They could remove it at any time, and I'd be fine with it. I don't use it, but probably not next year. I think that's a little soon. Maybe 2019 or 2020, they could start saying that we don't need ports at all. But I'm ready for that now. Like I said, that's the whole objective of the portless challenge, is to say that when they ditch the lightning port, you won't care. You'll be used to it. It won't make a difference. If they remove the lightning cable, they are only shooting themselves in the foot. They already shot themselves with removing the headphone jack. Well, it didn't. They got a lot of hate, but they still sold like crazy. iPhone 7 sales did really, really well. iPhone 10 sales are doing really, really well. So I don't understand how they're shooting themselves in the foot. The gold one would have been nice. Do you know if they had a spring keynote and show the gold one as limited edition? Yeah. I'm guessing more colors for the 10 are coming very soon. I think it was kind of weird. It was necessary, but it was odd for Apple, who had just had an iPhone 7 lineup with like 7 different colors. Followed up by the iPhone 10 in 2 colors. Like that was kind of bizarre. So yeah, I think in most of 2018 they'll be trying to. They're already showing that they're figuring out the manufacturing process problems. Like when the pre-orders first went live, you could not get an iPhone 10 unlocked. It was not an option. I wish it was, but you couldn't. I would have got it. But more recently, I think it was yesterday, you check the Apple Store app, and now you can. So it means that in manufacturing, they've figured out a way to make these faster. They're shipping them faster. Now, I think when you order an iPhone 10, you can get it within a week. And now that they're making them at a fast enough rate, they're able to diversify the lineup a little bit, and the SIM-free option is proof of that. It means that they can now package iPhone 10s without SIM cards in them, which is cool. Which means that I think the color options are just a couple months away. Probably March. What about when you need to connect your iPhone to iTunes? Most people don't. I gotta say it, nerd loser. That's your name. I'm not making fun of him. That's literally his name. Uh, Most people aren't. Apple's telling you to use Apple Music or sign into iCloud and use iTunes on your phone. I can't remember the last time I connected my iPhone to iTunes. You don't really need to do that anymore. It's unnecessary. And Apple's the kind of company to say no, don't do that anymore. Just stop. It's not an option. What about Tesla? I love Tesla. I make videos about Tesla. That's why I like them. You can watch my opinions on them there. Remember back when people said iPhone 10 will be delayed until early January? That would have sucked. I'm so glad that didn't happen. So glad. And that would have been a really bad move on Apple's part because you want to buy these things for the holidays. iPhone 10 will be ready to pick up in 10 days. It's been a long wait. Yes, it has, Stephanie. I hope you enjoy it as much as I am. So am I the only one that sees Apple catching hate as part of their marketing? Their marketing? I mean, Apple's marketing is kind of unnecessary, to be honest. I mean, people are going to buy it regardless. I don't know people who watch the ad and then think, oh, I'll buy that. I guess someone might. Someone might be like, oh, the iPhone 10 is out. I guess if you don't follow tech and you don't read the news. So if you don't read the news and you don't read, you don't follow tech stuff, then maybe you had no idea that the new iPhone came out. So then you see a commercial and you're like, oh, that's the 10. Okay, I'll get that. Except you'll call it the X because the ad doesn't call it the 10. World's strongest glass. It's still glass. Glass is not unbreakable, but yeah. I mean, I guess they might be correct about that. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, world's strongest glass probably isn't saying much. It is technically the strongest glass, yeah. But that doesn't mean it doesn't scuff. Like, how much would an iPhone 10 cost if both the front and back are sapphire? That would be a lot of money, but it'd be durable. I mean, it wouldn't get scuffed. So it would shatter if you dropped it still, but still. I mean, you wouldn't have to worry about screen protectors probably. Project you were working on, Project 2X, and I'm still doing $15 a hint. It's a if you super chat $15 and you're like hint for Project 2X, then I'll do it. What would you do if Tesla made a phone? I don't really think they would, honestly. I feel like Elon Musk has a very specific number of things he wants to investigate in. He has world-solving problems, and Elon Musk doesn't think that smartphones aren't good enough or that smartphones need to be done correctly. First of all, they would probably run Android, which means that I probably wouldn't like it very much. I mean, Tesla should be, I think, Tesla is focused on their cars, which is, they have a monopoly on. Really, there's no one they're competing with. So they're probably just going to keep running with that. Whereas smartphones, they would have loads of competition, and the Tesla phone probably wouldn't do very well. Um, one thing that MKBHD agrees on, I was like, if you could change something about the Teslas, what would it be? He very quickly said the UI. So, like, he can admit that Tesla is not very good at designing their user interface, which on a phone is pretty important these days. So the only difference with a Tesla phone would be the camera and the features, which we already have so many companies. We already got startup companies coming in. So it's like, come on, we don't. Tesla doesn't need to, and I don't think Elon Musk wants to be honest. Why iCloud doesn't give more free storage? Because it's encrypted. Google gives you more storage because they have access to it. So the reason so many Google services are free is you are the product. When you upload files to it, they sell that. They use it for their machine learning, their algorithm. It's not personal. They have access to it. Whereas on iCloud, it's smaller, but it's encrypted. So Apple loses money on it. They just have to buy up a bunch of server space and they get nothing out of it. And they have like over 1 billion devices with iCloud activated, giving 5 gigabytes to each one of them. Think of how much space they have to pay for. Literally like hundreds of petabytes of storage that they get nothing out of. They get no money out of that. They just do that as a service to the fans. Apple cars and Tesla phones. What a weird concept. Yeah. Since the rumors say 10 Plus and this small OLED screen iPhone are coming out next year, would you think prices will go down? What do you think the 6.5 inch will cost? I think the 10 Plus will cost more than the 10 did this year, but the regular 10 will cost less than the 10 did this year. Like, The iPhone 10 could start at $899 next year, the regular 10, and then this could start at $1,099. That's what I'm anticipating, like the $200 price cap. And then the cheaper one would be 600, 700. That's what I'm guessing. I doubt this would start at 1,000. That's pretty ambitious. Given an OLED display at 6.5, and it's Apple with Face ID and the cameras and the iOS and the Apple tax, like yeah, I would say 1,100 is most likely for this. Potentially more. It's Apple. Sky's the limit. Mini iPhone 10 will just be an updated SE. That's definitely possible. How does Google offer free unlimited storage then? It's like I said, it's because they have access to it. They sell user data to other companies. They investigate these things. They use your pictures that you upload to Google Photos for their machine learning to learn, for the AI to learn. They have access to all of that. They're running tests on it, basically. When you sign up for Google Photos, they make you agree to those terms and conditions. Whereas iClouds isn't free, but it's encrypted. Apple does not sell user data to other companies for research development. Apple doesn't use your pictures and videos for their machine learning or AI development. Google does. So they're taking it for free because they actually need it. They're using it. The more pictures they have, the more videos they have, the more their machine can learn, the more AI they can develop. So they're kind of using your personal life as a means to develop their technology. Some people don't care about that. Some people do. So I'm just saying they're different products. One is free, one is not, but they're different things. Yeah, I understand. I know the rules. 5 GB is free, correct. You know the great thing about cloud storage though? You can use both of these services. You can use iCloud Drive, you can use Google Drive. It's very simple. And I mean like you don't have to necessarily exclusively pick one. They're both free. You can get your 5 gigs of iCloud Drive for basic pictures and backup, and then you can get the Google Photos for your deep storage. Or, of course, what I do is pay for both $3 a month. Okay, that's $36 a year. So barely anything for 200 gigabytes of iCloud storage. And then I think Google Drives is about the same. It might be $3, it might be $2. And for Google, it's an extra $2 a month, so nothing. So I'm combined paying $5 a month. So that Google Drive, I have 200 gigs of storage, and iCloud Drive, I have 200 gigs of storage. So I've got a total of 400 gigs of storage for $5 a month. Like cloud storage is very, very cheap when you're working with these companies. Like, I know you don't want to pay for anything in your whole dang life, but come on, it's nothing. And yeah, iCloud is more integrated, but Google Drive, I'll admit, is definitely better at certain things. Like uploading files and sharing them to other people, way easier on Google Drive. Like my editor, I was trying to upload footage and audio of tech videos and share it to him. iCloud Drive doesn't do a good job at that. Google Drive, you just upload it and you hit share and you add the email address. You can have a folder that two people have access to and just put the footage in there, and then whenever he checks, he can see it. iCloud Drive's not that simple. iCloud Drive's more for personal storage, just like your life and stuff. It's not as good at sharing stuff. I hope they improve upon that. But yeah, I use iCloud Drive space for the backup and for the photo storage and stuff like that. And again, it's not that much money. And also, I think like if you pay like it's progressively even a better deal. Like if you pay $10 a month, I think you get a terabyte. It's like a crazy amount of space, and it's not that much money really. So I don't complain. I don't have any complaints about that. We're live streaming longer than usual because we're trying to raise money for Project 2X. I don't want to tell you what it is yet because it's exciting and I want to generate hype. But I live stream longer so that we can raise more money, that we can get more super chats, and hopefully make Project 2X the best unveiling possible. I have to say, I think Project 2X is the most exciting top secret project I've ever done. Like we've had the other top secret projects before. We've had the Photon, we've had Evergreen, we've had Newport. This is by far the biggest one. It's the most exciting. Oh, Nick is mentioning that $10 is 2 terabytes on iCloud. 2 terabytes of iCloud storage, $10. That's a good deal. That's a really good deal. 2X is moving forward, yes. And I can tell you Project 2X is not the iMac Pro. I'm pretty for sure on the iMac Pro. I'm pretty sure that's happening. iPhone 10 has Bluetooth 5, but is it not activated? I think it's activated. I've noticed that my Mega Boom can be very far away from my iPhone and it still works. Just give us a sneak peek of Project 2X. I'll give you a hint. Um, First of all, I'll say that Patreon donors get more hints. There'll be some pictures I'll be taking down the road. Not yet. I'm not ready for pictures to be taken, but I'll be taking pictures with and of hints to Project 2X and posting them to the Patreon page, so our Patreon donors have some more rumors to guess with, so that they can more anticipate what's going to happen, and you can have a bit more of a guessing game. But it's exciting. Last time you said Project Photon was definitely not TCU Phase 2. How can we trust anything you say? You cannot. As I mentioned at the unveiling, I will lie to you for the sake of a better unveiling. Like, if you guys guessed the Project 2X correctly, and I just said, yep, you got it, then the reveal wouldn't be as exciting. Kind of like parents who have bought their children Christmas presents. If the child ran up to the present and said, is it this? And they just said, yep, that's it. And then you left it wrapped up. Like, it would ruin it. So I don't lie to you for my benefit. I will always lie to you for your benefit. I will lie to you if it means that the unveiling down the road will be worth it. So the fact that Phase 2, oh wow, we got a big donation recently. The fact that we had a big what was it, that people were guessing correctly what Project Photon was. When I didn't tell you when you got it right, it meant that you genuinely, hopefully, you genuinely believed that I was telling the truth, which meant that you were expecting something else, and then it was like, oh, so I was right. So that I prefer that opposed to, yup, everyone, you got it right. Yeah, he did donate a lot. Thank you, Brandon Zinn, who says, already a Patreon, but love your channel, just wanted to donate. Thank you, Brandon, I appreciate. So I'll give you a hint, which is a good question, which is worth 3 hints. Okay. I don't know if I have 3 hints. I constantly have 1 hint ready in case someone donates and asks for one. Let me think of a couple. I'll give you the first one I had in the back of my mind, and then I'll try to think of a couple more. But thank you, Brandon. Very generous. Okay, so first of all, a lot of people were asking, what channel does Project 2X affect? Is this a tech channel thing? Is this a gaming channel thing? Is this a movie review? What does 2X affect? And I will confirm, Project 2X is a project that will affect every channel. Okay? This is not exclusive to a single channel. This is not exclusive to tech. It will affect tech. Okay? This is something that's changing tech. It's changing the main channel. It's changing gaming channel. It's changing everything. Okay? So, every single channel. You've already given this hint? Oh, wait, I did? When? Okay, well, not everyone was watching for it, so there's that. More than 1 hint. Okay, let me think of another one. Can I rule it out? Project 2X is not... a lot of people were asking if it was a collaboration with a certain YouTuber. It is not. I'll give you a hint there. Project 2X is not a purchase. Project 2X, a lot of people were like, are you buying a Tesla? Are you buying new cameras? Are you buying a microphone? A better lighting setup or something? It's not a purchase, okay? It is not a single-hand purchase. Let's think. What else could I give you a hint? And I believe I've answered this elsewhere. I may have already, but I guess not everyone's here. But Project 2X is not a personal life effect. It's not. I wouldn't do a top secret project to tell you I'm buying my own house. Like that's not what I would do. It's for you guys. Project 2X is about the audience. It's about Taylosive. It's not about my personal life. So a lot of people are like, "Are you getting married?" It's like, no, that's not. I wouldn't do a top secret project about that. I would probably just tell you if I was. I wouldn't need to generate hype to tell you something that's happening in my personal life. 2X is something you should be excited for because it's changing Taylosive in general. But you said it costs money to buy. Money's going into it. Yes, but this is not... What I mean by single purchase is that this is not... a lot of people were like, is this a new camera? Is this an iMac Pro? You're buying an iMac Pro, or you're buying another iPhone 10. It's not like a product. It's not like a phone. But lots of money is going into it. It's a very expensive investment, but it is not a single like device. It's not a Tesla. That's the project to it. No, it's not it. Yeah, personal life belongs on the Talks channel. If I have announcements about my personal life or about housing or girlfriend, or I'm an uncle now, in case some of you were wondering. My sister had her baby, Evelyn, who's adorable, and I can't wait to see her. She's up in Washington, so I won't see her for a while, sadly. But yeah, I'm finally an uncle. But again, that's not something I would take the time for on a tech channel. But when I generate hype for something, it's for a reason, and it's something that will affect, like I said, all the channels. Uh, a lot of people are saying hiring. I'm not getting a second girlfriend. God, no. I love my girlfriend. I would never. I have no idea what it is, but I'm getting excited. Good. And like I said, my crazy super chat donation still holds true. If there's some crazy fan out there who has a ton of spare money they want to get rid of, if someone were to donate 2 grand, that is the number. This would be four $500 super chats. If someone just boom, 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 I would tell you. No more secret. It would just be like, boom, okay, I'll tell you exactly what it is. No lies. I'll tell you exactly what's happening. That's the all-time like high-end goal, because I didn't think you guys would do the shave thing. Ever since the shave thing, I'm like, God, I gotta aim higher. Like, I wanted my beard. I liked my beard, and I was like, geez, if you wanted me to shave, you'd have to donate like $200. And then someone did it, and I was like, oh God, I aim too low. So now I'm trying to aim higher at this one and be like, no. If you want a reveal date, it's up here. Okay, give us a date at least. Okay, I can tell you that recently, between the last stream and this stream, it got delayed a little bit, but for a good reason. Okay, Project 2X, I was hoping to unveil in early January, so about a month from now. But because we want to do it right, we want to make sure we do this correctly, and we want to make sure that we don't rush anything with Project 2X. And keep in mind, another hint is that even Wyatt at Tailosive is excited. Nick is excited. Xander's excited. Wyatt's excited. Everyone's excited for Project 2X. It's not just a me thing. So keep in mind, that's why it's not exclusive to tech. And we wanted to make sure Project 2X was done correctly, so we're probably going to delay it till more near the end of January, early February. The reason I even tell you these things, I could just not say anything and just development, is because I want people to know that when I'm doing longer live streams and when I'm asking for more super chat incentives, it's for a cause. The super chat is not just going into my pocket and I'm like, yeah, I'm richer now. It's all going in. It's all going into Project 2X. What if different people donate and altogether it becomes 2,000? Yeah. I mean, that would take a long time though. I would mean like it would have to be within like a 1 hour period though. Like if 4 people donated 500, then sure, I would do it. The Tailosive phone. A lot of people were saying, has anyone guessed it right? To which I will say, I have not seen a single person get it right. I've read a lot of comments, and I've read a lot of people trying to guess what it is, and no, I haven't found anyone who's got it. It's one of those things where it's like, once you see it, you'll be like, oh, that makes sense. Why didn't I think of that? I bet most people are going to treat it that way. If you weren't a YouTuber and still had bought the 10, would you get the 10 Plus next year? Probably not. It would depend on my financial situation. As more of us move off, as I move off into my YouTube career more and more, it becomes harder and harder to imagine what life would be like if I didn't do YouTube. So I don't really know what my career would be. Would I still be at the ranch? In which case I probably wouldn't have enough money for a 10 Plus, or would I be working somewhere else making more money? I don't know. So probably not. If I was working minimum wage, probably couldn't afford this kind of thing. 2 times as many channels. There's 2 tech channels now. No. But okay, I've given you a handful of hints for that big donation, which I'm very grateful for. Thank you. Thank you very much. Have you already made the photon hints and hints location video? I did the unveiling, but the problem with photon was that when we started working on it, there wasn't too much going on in tech. It was just making videos, whatever. We're making tech videos. Now I'm working full time. I have time for Saturday shorts and for edited stuff. But then the problem was then Verizon was going to start down throttling, so we had to start looking for an extra space, which was Project Newport. And then we had to focus on moving into the new space, which took a lot of time and it took a lot of settling down. And then the tech channels started exploding again because obviously lots of things were happening. iPhone 8 unveiling, iPhone 10 unveiling, so we had to focus on that. Now it's iMac Pro unveiling. Now it's Project 2X, which I have to mention is something we had to move on. Project 2X wasn't almost it was almost something I didn't necessarily choose to go into. It was like we have to get moving. We have to start making advancements soon. So it was something that we felt a little bit rushed by. So because of all these other things going on, which tech channel is more important because it brings in the money, internet connection is more important than the TCU, which I really care about and I really want to keep doing, but it's just it gets pushed back so much because while the TCU is fun, it is not a profitable part of my job. It's mostly just because I want to do it. And sadly, when you're running a startup business and you're very young and you want to make sure you do things correctly, you have to focus on the things that bring in the money. You cannot put all your money and effort and energy into something that's just fun. Because the TCU, while it is fun, we get nothing from that. There's no profit from that. There's no benefit. I mean, it's fun to make and it's fun to watch, but at the same time, we lose a lot of money because we have to spend all this time on stuff and spend money on costumes or sets or whatnot, or not really sets, but they cost time and money to make and a lot of energy. How do you become a moderator? Via Patreon. I'm starting up a new internet company. Yes, net neutrality is gone, but Telosive internet. You guys guessed it exactly. 2 times the internet speed. That's an interesting theory. 2 times the internet? No, that's not a hint. Don't look into that too much. If you wirelessly charge your phone and plug it into a wired charger at the same time, will it charge faster? I don't think so. I think your battery is limited to how fast it can charge. 2 times videos daily, lol. That's extreme work. I don't think people would like that, to be honest. Two videos a day, like I unsubscribed from Good Mythical Morning because of how much they were posting. It's like 4 videos a day. It's annoyingly like I can't watch all this. There's too much content. They're publishing like 20, 40 minutes of content every single day. It's like I can't keep up. I like the tech videos where it's like, there's this today. You can watch that little 10-minute video and then you're good. Then you're done. These are life advice channels. Are your videos still being demonetized? Every single one. I have every single video you've seen for the past week and the week before that. Every single one of them gets demonetized. I unsubbed for the same reason. Yes, I'm glad I wasn't alone in that. It was like, I love you, Rhett and Link, but you're posting constantly, and I can't watch every single thing. So whenever I go to my subscriptions feed, it's just GMM, 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 and some of them isn't even them. It's not even them. Like they tried to do that whole "This Is Mythical" channel with the other people that's not Rhett and Link, and then no one cared, so they stopped uploading, and now they just upload Ear Biscuits to "This Is Mythical." So I don't know why they just don't rename the channel Ear Biscuits, but yeah. Well, no, look, every time I request a review of the video, it gets approved. So every time a human being looks at my video, they're like, oh, no, 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 it shouldn't have been demonetized. So the failure rate, at least for my videos, has been 100%. Every time the bot demonetizes me, they're wrong. Every single time so far. And dude, anyway, we viewers can help with the demonetization. Well, I don't, like guys, trick, for those of you asking, I don't want to push that on you. I did a video a while back about demonetization and how frustrating it is because you put a lot of work and you put a lot of effort into videos, and then to see it just get slapped and say, who cares? That's hard. And when I did that video, a ton of people went over to Patreon and everyone started donating on Patreon. And I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful. You were also supportive, but at the same time, I couldn't help but feel guilty because I was like, demonetization is Google's fault. Okay, this is YouTube's problem. I should be the one who suffers for it. You guys should not have to take it upon yourself You guys should just be able to watch content for free. You shouldn't have to donate. You shouldn't have to. You should be able to watch my videos and have that viewership, whether it's YouTube Red or watching an advertisement. That should be able to support me. That's the way it's been. That's the way it should be. I don't like pushing all of the blame onto you, and I just couldn't help but feel guilty that all of these people were like, "Oh, Drew wants our money. Let's go to Patreon and start donating." Like, well, yes, I'm extremely grateful and I appreciate that so much. I was like, this is it's not your fault. Why are you guys putting it on yourselves to fix it? It's not you. And I guess I'm confused by it because it's just something I wouldn't do. I watch a lot of YouTube channels I love, but I guess I don't donate to any of them. Maybe I should. I don't know, but I usually look at YouTube as like this is this free entertainment media platform where you have unlimited number um, of devices, where you have an unlimited number of content of creators. You have an unlimited number of channels to choose from. You can find exactly what you need, and I don't know. I think it's weird to ask people to go to Patreon to fix demonetization. It shouldn't be up to you guys. It shouldn't be on you. Can we press refresh to get to 5,000 views for manual reviews? Oh, well, it's 1,000 first of all, and I don't like. I did it once where once it got demonetized, I privatized it, and I was going to wait for it to be remonetized and then publish it again. But then I just got a flood of comments, all these comments falling in of people saying, um, just a flood of comments. Where's the video? I was watching it and it stopped. Like, what'd you do with the video? What'd you do with the video? And even when I republished it again, people were still like, where'd it go? It causes so much panic, and you guys deserve consistency with my uploads. You deserve like a video's up. Now I can watch it. That there shouldn't be any more to it than that. And I don't see the point in going into whole. Well, he did publish it, but then it got demonetized, so we have to wait till it's remonetized and then we can watch it. Because also when I did that, it stayed demonetized for like 8 hours. So for the whole day, people were just like, "Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?" And I was like, "Oh my god." If everyone donated $1, Drew would have plenty of money. Oh yeah, I'd have a ton of money. If everyone who subscribed to me donated $1, I could buy a Tesla. That'd be an interesting goal. Everyone go to Patreon, donate a single dollar, and then Tesla. We got it. Project 2X would be covered. We'd be great. So sad that VidMe is going to die. Yeah, I mean, you can't really get everyone to move to a different platform yet until someone gets more aggressive about it. But yeah, charged an iPhone with a wireless charger and a wired charger, you would end up with a Note 7. Just, yeah. $61,000. Yeah, I could buy a Model 3. I would buy a Model 3. You know, I don't want people thinking that. Don't say you wish you could super chat. I wish you could super chat. That's fine. Just you support the channel by watching. Okay. 2X is expanding the office. No, actually, about the office, we're not expanding. About the office, we have neighbors now, which is actually kind of frustrating. I don't know if you could hear them earlier, but even when I'm recording videos and sometimes when I'm live, they're making a lot of noise. It's kind of frustrating. Um, no one can't beat the monster of YouTube unless they have billions to spend. That's why I'm saying Amazon could do it. If they redesign Twitch a little bit, I think it would be very possible. Twitch has the server space to support it. They have monetization platforms. I've tried to switch to Twitch, but you need to be live streaming regularly on there, like 3 times a week, in order to get approved for monetization, which would be kind of difficult for me to do. But we could try it. If YouTube doesn't get better and YouTube keeps failing, then maybe I'll start live streaming on Twitch. But so far, it's been okay. You guys are supportive enough with the super chat and the Patreon, which I'm ever grateful for. And the demonetized videos get remonetized fast enough so that it doesn't cause too much damage. It's still damage, but not too much. If it got progressively worse though, then I might have to move to Twitch. I wouldn't have a choice. Will we ever see an Apple YouTube? Probably not. That's something Apple's not good at, is social networks. You can't really make a social network and just expect people to use it. People just kind of flock to it. It's like memes. You can never predict them. Anyway, Thank you guys. We reached our 2 hour mark, so it was really really fun talking to y'all. I had a great time. I hope you have an excellent Tuesday. Hope you thought it was interesting to finally see what we have here, the original iPhone right next to iPhone 10, of course, with Face ID and no home button. We've sure made it a long way. Sure, a lot has changed. It's 10 years. It's been interesting. Really quick before I leave, why don't you just tell me in the chat, what do you guys what do you guys think I should do with the original iPhone videos? Should we? Sadly, no. Even if someone donates to do another hour, I'm sorry, I have to go. I actually have plans today. I have to get going. So sadly, I can't say the more you donate, the longer I stream. That's not one of these days. Maybe on Thursday I can do that. But should I do like a little review video of it, or should I be like a 10 years later, or you're good? Do you not need one? Sell it. I can't sell it. It's not mine. Review? No drop tests. Give it to me. No. Again, it's not mine. Should I compare them all? We can't do drop tests. So no matter how much you super chat or request that, it's not possible. All screen Samsung. We'll get into that. Review the original iPhone. Okay. 10 years later would be a pretty good one. Okay, we could do a video just about how things have changed in so long. The thing, when I take pictures and videos on this, I don't know how to get them off. 10 years later. Okay. All right. I'll keep that in mind. Everyone's saying do a review on the 2G, some kind of evolution 2 years later thing. All right. Bend test. Okay. Here we go. How does it bend? No. These aren't mine. Why didn't anyone pick that idea? This is a fan's. They are still his. He sent them to me to review, and then I'm going to send them back afterwards. That's all. Okay. They're not waterproof. Both 10 years later and review. I wouldn't have enough. They're kind of the same thing. iPhone 2G 10 years later versus review. The 10 years later goes without saying. Use it for 1 week. Oh, no. Okay. Hold on. I just found out a way to make money. If someone donates, okay, really quick. You have 1 minute. No, you have 2 minutes, okay? Last 2 minutes of the live stream. Someone donates $100. I'll use it for 3 days. It'll be my phone. I don't know how. I can't pair anything to it. Time is running out. Please don't do this. This isn't worth it. Please don't do this. Whoever's filling out the super chat, don't do it. It's not worth it. I'll use this. I can't do it for a month because I'd have to send it. 200 for a week, deal. Okay, you're running out of time. You don't have time. You're running out. You'll need a bigger SIM card. Oh my God, you're right. Okay, I'll leave the phone at home. I'll leave the 10 at home, and then I'll use this. And then if I need text, I'll use the watch. Let's do it. Oh, yeah, I would have to activate it. Anyway, doesn't look like someone's doing it. So oh no, Brandon. Oh, dang it. Okay, he did it. Okay. Shoot, I have to do it now, and I have to go. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope you have a fantastic day. Okay, that's way too much. I got to leave before we donate another. Thank you, Brandon. Bye-bye. This is your Apple Sheep here. See you in the next one.